The chase began. Fortunately, he was apprehended nearly an hour later. When he was brought the following day for trial, he wore a white mask designed to stop offenders from spitting on or biting people. He was almost unrecognizable, with a red forehead and eyes. His cranial region, cheek, and forehead were also swollen. Esteban was eventually sentenced to life imprisonment without parole. Apart from Esteban's spine-chilling crime, the shocking reactions from his family members also raised eyebrows. When the judge sentenced Esteban to life imprisonment, his family members screamed and shouted about police brutality.
Police brutality! He was mentally ill, and he needed help, and we couldn't get it. We tried and tried, and he didn't deserve this.
Death sentences are never a pleasant sight, but over the years, we have seen convicted criminals who are sentenced to death take their execution as an opportunity to ask for forgiveness or say their last words. However, some remain unshaken, even in the face of death. Today, we'll look at the most disturbing last words of convicted criminals, from those asking for forgiveness and telling their families they love them, to those simply enjoying their little time left. Ryan hijacked a car with a 4-year-old inside just outside a gas station in Longmont. In what seemed like a scene from Fast and Furious, Ryan led the police on a lengthy high-speed chase that spanned 60 miles. The 90-minute car chase ended when Ryan was caught running on foot, having damaged the vehicle he hijacked. But that was not before he crashed into a van, dragging the driver out and stealing the van. In his attempt to escape, Ryan hit a state trooper laying a tire deflation device and breaking his legs. He also hit several other cars and hijacked 2 others before being apprehended. Ryan was put in a waiting cell, and in a video presented to the court, Ryan was seen boasting to a female visitor that he has now become famous and has made the news in different countries.
Yeah, my lawyer told me I made the news in the UK and Australia.
He also talked about the possibility of getting paid by YouTube because of the many views his car chase generated.
You get paid by YouTube. So, Channel 7 News, I believe, is going to be the one that gets paid for that.
But his boastful behavior soon changed when he was brought to the court for trial. He appeared tearful and blamed drugs for the wild car chase.
One of the phone calls about seeming like I was bragging about making international news, this, that, and the other. That was within the first week of being arrested. Still coming off of drugs.
He explained that he was still under the influence of drugs when he bragged about the car chase. Ryan's family stated that he struggled with drug addiction and pleaded with the court not to see him as a violent person, but rather as a troubled young man. The judge wasn't moved by their pleas. A jury sentenced Ryan to 160 years in prison, having been convicted of 18 counts. However, investigations by the FBI showed that the police did not use excessive force, given the circumstances. The investigation concluded that the injuries Esteban sustained were from his daring jump from the 3rd-floor window of the building. His injuries were consistent with the force needed to subdue him following his struggle with police officers. When 20-year-old Portia Brooks and her boyfriend Aaron Martin were chilling in a parked car in Norwood in 2013, little did they know that their lives would be changed by a teenager forever in a few minutes. 19-year-old Smith Riley and 2 other accomplices approached the vehicle to rob the occupants. They ordered Aaron out of the car. Smith Riley must have been incredibly disappointed that Aaron did not have any valuable thing on him, because he shot Aaron in the head before proceeding to shoot Portia. Portia's boyfriend survived the shooting but had permanent brain damage. Unfortunately, Portia died in the hospital 3 days later. A tip from Crime Stoppers led the police to Smith Riley. In 2016, the case was revisited. Smith Riley was charged with aggravated murder, attempted murder, aggravated robbery, and 2 counts of felonious assault. He was condemned to life in prison without an option of parole after he pleaded guilty to avoid a death sentence. His lawyer tried to argue that he deserves leniency.
This is somebody that feels genuine remorse. This is somebody that thinks about this every day, and he knows that he can't go back in time and undo what he did.
Portia's family was called upon to deliver a victim's impact message.
This is what I have left because of his greed, his selfishness, his complete disregard of and disrespect of others and life. This is what I have left. I talk to her, I kiss her, I hold her, but as you can see, I get nothing back except the reality that she is gone.
When the sister was called to speak, she said,
He wants parole, well, I want my sister. Let's trade.
Immediately, Riley heard the sentence of life imprisonment without parole.
Court defendant serve a term of life without parole. As to count 4, the offense of attempted murder.
It takes a cold-hearted murderer to kill not 1 but 3 people, and even a heartless one to feel no remorse for these crimes. This was the case of Michael Madison, who kidnapped and murdered 3 people and then wrapped their bodies in garbage bags. Michael grew up in a chaotic and abusive household. Although that might have contributed to how he turned out, it wasn't enough to excuse his crimes. Sherelda Terry was one of Michael's victims. Naturally, her father was called by the court to give a victim impact statement. As Mr. Terry made his way to the front of the court, he turned towards Michael, who was sitting just a few feet away, and Michael smiled at him maliciously. The unremorseful smile was enough to make Terry's father go ballistic. He ran towards Michael, throwing himself across the table, and lunged at him. Thanks to the timely intervention of police officers who caught him just in time, we might have a case of 2 murders on our hands. His actions caused a commotion in the court, and a 15-minute delay followed. Terry's father laughed last as Michael was given the death penalty. The judge stated that life imprisonment is too kind for horrific criminals like Michael. Michael neither answered the judge's question nor made any statement. He showed no remorse at all. Manson Bryant and Judge Eugene Lucci are not strangers. In fact, Bryant has appeared before Judge Lucci's court more than twice, starting from a juvenile case in 1999. Bryant has a lengthy criminal history and has been in and out of prison. However, this appearance before Judge Lucci is for a violent home invasion and robbery while still on parole. Bryant and his accomplice climbed through the victim's window, held them at gunpoint, and stole their valuables. For this, he is being charged with aggravated burglary, aggravated robbery, kidnapping, and abduction. The last time he appeared before Judge Lucci, he was sentenced to 4 years imprisonment. However, this current crime has a maximum prison sentence of 30 years. After the judge had examined the evidence and determined that Bryant was genuinely remorseful, he sentenced him to 22 years in prison. Bryant's remorse must not have been deep because he flared up instantly, swore at the judge, and called him a racist. The rant went on for a while before Judge Lucci had enough. He reconsidered Bryant's remorseful speech and added 6 additional years to his sentence, totaling 28 years. Bryant was then forcefully removed from the courtroom. Bryant's attorney Daniel Williams stated the hearings are often emotional and that his client had an emotional but regrettable action. He noted that before the sentence, his client had been composed and showed remorse throughout the trial.
And that he wasn't remorseful at all, and that if given the chance, if I let him loose on society, he's going to prey on other people.
In 2020, the case went to a court of appeal, but Bryant wasn't successful, and the judgment was upheld. However, he appealed the judgment. In the first week of June 2022, the Ohio Supreme Court ruled that swearing at a judge is a case of contempt of court at most, and does not warrant 6 years of additional jail time. The court stated that a trial judge could not increase a sentence simply because the defendant was abusive or offensive. Have you witnessed any other crazy reaction to a life sentence? Which of these reactions shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments section.